Hey guys, and welcome to Castle's Corner. I am Coach Castle, and I've had a couple requested videos, so I thought I would kill 3 birds with 1 stone in this short video. I'll be explaining forearm training, neck training, as well as the resistance curve, because it's an easy video to explain it with. So let's start with the resistance curve now, and then we'll get into how it applies to the wrist training, the wrist flexor, the wrist extensor, as well as the neck training, neck extensor, neck flexor, etc. The resistance curve is easy to understand if you can look at an anatomy chart and just visualize this very simple thing here. So what this is a lever. In this case, this will be my upper arm and my forearm, just like this, 2 levers. The bicep, which originates at the top and connects or inserts about 2 centimeters down from the flexor here. Then, as it's here, when it's in this position, there is no load acting on the bicep. The bicep is not loaded in the slightest. As soon as you take it outside of this position, the bicep becomes loaded, but the lever itself is a shortened lever. When the lever is in this position, where the forearm is parallel with the ground and perpendicular with gravity, it is a maximum lever, a 100% lever, and this is because the weight is the furthest distance, the maximum length away from the body and the bone that it can be. Now, obviously, during a bicep curl, you also complete the movement, and this adds another part to the resistance curve. Very simple to understand. The lever starts at 0, increases, about 50% lever, increases to 100% lever, back down to 50, 25, etc. Now this is the natural resistance curve. It's very easy to understand. In order for an exercise to be productive, it must have this range of motion. It has to have 100% lever in the middle range of the movement, and then you need to have extra range, let's just say, on either side of it for it to be maximally productive. And of course, the resistance needs to originate opposite the origin of the target muscle. So, easy way to understand this in regards to wrist training is in this particular case, my wrist muscles, my wrist, this is a 100% lever. So this is the middle of the movement. Then to lower the wrist, this will be the bottom portion of the movement, and then up again, contracting the muscles, this will be the top portion. So this is when my forearm is fully contracted, just as when my bicep is fully contracted here, meaning this is the top of the resistance curve. This is the middle of the resistance curve, or a 100% active lever. In the case of my bicep, it would be here. And then finally, we have the lower portion where the muscle is actually stretched or elongated. And then this will be the bottom portion of the resistance curve. So again, comparing it to the bicep, it's pretty simple. This is not entirely perfectly accurate, but it's a close enough metaphor and explanation that everyone can follow along. So, following that principle, the only thing that's going to change with the neck is made up of a bunch of little levers. It's not just a single lever like this, or like the forearm. I mean, granted, there's a bunch of little levers in here, but you don't really have to think about that. The neck looks something like this. And when you're training it, you have to train the muscles that pull it forward. You have to train the muscles that pull it backwards. And then you also have to train the muscles that go laterally on either side. The lateral movement will always be less than the forward and backwards movement. So basically the side-to-side movement is going to be less range of motion than you will have with the forward and the back movement. Again, easy enough to understand. If you're going to be using a weight, a dumbbell, a plate on the side of your head, in order to have the correct resistance curve in alignment with gravity, well, you'll be putting yourself on your side and obviously moving your head like this. I'll get into the anatomy in the video in just a moment. There's also a few different tools you can use as well. I'll include those in the video. But I hope that clears up the resistance curve, how it's going to be applying to the wrist and the neck training, and let's get into the video. The easiest way to think about training the wrist flexors is just like training the bicep or any other muscle on your body. You're going to want these muscles to pull insertion to origin in a straight line while following the resistance curve as previously stated. Now you can be doing this with a dumbbell or with cables, of course. The idea is just to make sure that the resistance is going to be opposite the target muscle. And again, staying inside the correct resistance curve is very important. Here you can see the same exercise, but these would be the synergist muscles. So these are the extensors of the wrist. And again, you can perform this with a dumbbell or with cables. Just make sure that the resistance is opposite the target muscles. An additional note that when doing wrist training or neck training or any other muscle group training, if your goal is maximizing muscle development and hypertrophy, you're going to be wanting to contract rapidly and slowly lower the weight for 4 to 5 seconds. Now the same principle will of course be applying to your neck training. Here you can see training the neck laterally using the scalene muscles. Here is a focused look at them and the action that they're doing. As you can see, the same thing as the wrist, bicep, and every muscle on your body, following the correct resistance curve and contracting insertion to origin in a straight line as possible. And again, your lateral movement will be restricted, much more so than your flexion or extension, as we're getting into here. Again, you'll be using a dumbbell or possibly a cable or even a neck or head harness, as you see some people use, including a picture here for you. The idea, of course, always is to simply be contracting the muscles and doing so slowly to maximize the strength as well as reducing risk and also building a stronger neurological connection. And finally, of course, you have your neck extensors. Now, as for your neck extensors, you can do it laying on a bench or you can do it bent over as you see me here. The reason I prefer to do it like this is simple. It's just because it's more comfortable and it still allows me to breathe nice and easily with my stomach, as you should be breathing. And finally, we need to talk about upper traps, as they also connect to your neck. And as you can see me doing here, I'm actually leaning forward about 15 degrees so that the insertion is directly opposite the origin. The origin being, as you can see here, on the back of my neck. You're going to want to move your shoulders upwards in a straight line, again, contracting in as straight a line as possible. Your arms should be relaxed, just kind of dead ropes, if you will. And that's how you do it, guys. Hey guys, just a reminder, if you can, hit that like button, subscribe, comment, share this video with other people so we can spread the education so people can learn how to train correctly, maximize their efficiency, maximize their progress, and remember, no one is going to do the work for you. You have to do the work for yourself. Everybody, stay on your grind, and if I can ever help, you all know how to reach me.